Hello everyone, welcome to Rainbow Infinity. Today I'll be reading Jests in Broad Moonlight. If you like the reading, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please enjoy. Great minds think alike, and fools seldom differ. Chrysalis hummed a dark tune to herself as she made her way through the forest. On her sides hung a pair of saddlebags. Though empty at the moment, she knew that would change soon enough. Boys and girls of every age, Chrysalis sang to herself, continuing to hum as she maneuvered through the thick underbrush. Above her hung a bright, pale moon which illuminated the dark woods in an eerie light. The shadows were deep, though they made no fear stir in the changeling queen's chest. She was, after all, the greatest predator in Equestria, and did not have to concern herself with whatever meager monsters the wood could produce. "Come with me and you will see," Chrysalis continued, ducking under a low-hanging branch. The queen spun briefly in a clearing, the moonlight serving as her dancing partner. As she dipped and gracefully strode across the expanse, Chrysalis thought of the great bounty awaiting her up ahead. All of Ponyville was unaware, left defenseless during one of their insipid holidays. "Pumpkins scream in the dead of night," Chrysalis whispered in hushed tones. A holiday that would allow her to go undisguised amongst their people, her natural form serving as disguise enough. The mere thought of all those smiling, unaware faces made Chrysalis grin, and imagine the delicious harvest waiting for her. All she had to do was go there, and pluck it from the hooves of those sorry fools. "I am the one hiding under your bed, teeth ground sharp and eyes glowing red," Chrysalis sang, startling a bunny rabbit with her bright crimson gaze. Laughing like a hyena, Chrysalis continued to pace in the direction of her destination, her mind wandering. She thought of the other villains she had partnered up with, and how she had ditched them in order to enact her own plan. Chrysalis almost felt bad, but reminded herself that this would be her victory, not theirs. "Take a chance and roll the dice. Ride with the moon in the dead of night," Chrysalis whispered, almost conspiratorially, the town of Ponyville rising in the distance. Through the low-hanging boughs and great wall of greenery, Chrysalis saw her destination as well as a few of her targets. Foals ran this way and that, their faces adorned with masks or paint, meant to make them look like creatures of myth. Some parents could be seen amidst the crowds, though they were distracted, and barely paid attention to their wandering spawn. "I am the who when you call who's there. I'm the wind blowing through your hair," Chrysalis sang to herself. Ahead of her, a small group of 3 young foals were trotting along a dimly lit path. Dressed like a chimera, the 3 children awkwardly trundled down the road, arguing amongst themselves all the while. Chrysalis almost felt bad for the horned pony who had been forced to walk backwards, having been stuck with serving as the snakehead. Almost. "And scream like a banshee, make you jump out of your skin," Chrysalis whispered as she slowly approached the trio. From shadow to shadow the changeling queen slunk, until she reached a thick oaken trunk. There she rested for a moment, then 2, before she leapt out and yelled a great mighty "Boo!" The foals screamed, tried to run in different directions, and ended up in a tangled heap. While the earth pony and Pegasi tried to drag them away, their unicorn friend could only weep. With their departure most hasty, the trio left behind a banquet most tasty. "Ah, delicious," declared the queen as she drank up their fear. "And you left dessert as well. How kind." Chrysalis scooped up the discarded bowls of candy and removed something that looked good. Popping the bit of chocolate into her mouth, the flavor instantly made up for the many long hours spent sneaking through that blasted wood. "Ah, now to find my next prey," Chrysalis remarked to herself. Humming to herself, Chrysalis skipped along an ill-used road, making many stop and stare. The changeling ignored their looks, and continued searching for the next pony to scare. By then her bags were so full that they looked ready to burst. Yet even still, the changeling continued to thirst. There were ponies to frighten and fear to drink. So to the shadows she went, and there she did slink. Her gaze swung this way and that before settling on something large and fat. There a child sat unafraid, yet alone, painted from head to hoof in bright white bone. Inhaling deeply, Chrysalis readied herself for the leap, only for her joy to be dashed when it was not she whose fear he did reap. "Boo!" shouted Tirek, leaping from the bush. Gone, gone was the child who leapt up from his tush. With a scream on his lips and fear in the air, the colt ran and ran, leaving Chrysalis to stand and glare. "What are you doing here?" Chrysalis hissed. Tyrek rolled his eyes. "Like you're someone to get pissed." Chrysalis stomped her hoof angrily. "That was my mark. I saw it first." "You're just an angry, bitter old bat," Tyrek cursed. Chrysalis scoffed. "At least I am not a stupid, stubborn old goat." Tyrek chuckled. "Says the mayor who always ruins our plans just to gloat." "That was only one time," Chrysalis muttered. Tyrek jabbed a finger at the changeling. "And that, my dear, is the most brazen lie ever uttered." "You stupid, ugly, fat blight! Would you kindly screw off for just one night?" Chrysalis demanded. "Who's going to make me? You, the engorged little bee? Go back to your hive. This is my drive," Tyrek retorted. Chrysalis snorted. "I see your gut has grown, and your ego expanded." "Why are you guys talking in rhyme?" someone asked, prompting both Tyrek and Chrysalis to turn towards Sombra, who was wearing a familiar bright purple wig. Not only that, but he had a fake element of magic strung around his neck, and a pair of lavender wings taped to his back. I don't know," Chrysalis admitted. "It just kinda caught on, I guess," Tyrek added. Sombra rolled his eyes. "You guys are weird. You could have at least put on a costume. You stick out like a pair of sore thumbs." "Why bother?" Tyrek replied. "Like you did? Where did you get all that junk? The dollar store?" Chrysalis exclaimed, sharing a laugh with Tyrek. "Hey, I made this myself. Besides, it's meta," Sombra explained. "Meta?" Chrysalis asked. "Yeah, I look like someone dressed up as Sombra dressed up as Twilight. It's genius," Sombra continued. "A costume should be like a joke, no explanation required," Tyrek added. Sombra sighed and rolled his eyes. "As usual, you two lack vision." "Speaking of which, where is that pipsqueak punk of ours?" Tyrek inquired. "Pipsqueak is safe at home," answered the familiar voice of Twilight Sparkle. The three villains turned towards the alicorn, who was without costume, or even a mask. Unless you count the mask of barely contained rage, which covered her features better than any cheap bit of plastic was capable of. "Oh, hello, me," Sombra began, smiling a bit too wide. "Be quiet, Sombra," Twilight spat. "Yes, ma'am," Sombra muttered. "Look, we all know how this is going to go. I'm going to summon the elements and make a speech. You'll retort with something stupid, and then we'll blast you into next week. So," Twilight clapped her hooves together, "why don't we save you guys the embarrassment, and meet the headache by just skipping to the part where you leave?" "How's that sound?" Twilight offered. Tyrek, Sombra, and Chrysalis exchanged a look before hanging their heads in defeat. "Fine. Whatever. Can I at least bob for apples before we go?" "No, you cannot," Twilight declared, glaring down at Sombra. "Spoil sport," muttered the former king. "Come on, guys. Let's go back to the cave," Chrysalis glumly muttered. "I knew I should have started sooner. I barely got any candy," murmured Tyrek. "At least you got some. I spent all my time painting these wings. Say, do you mind if I snag one or two of your—" Sombra began, only to be interrupted by a resounding "No!" from both of his companions. "Damn," he cursed. As Twilight watched them go, her frown slowly morphed into a smile, which grew until she was grinning like a mad mare. Reaching up to the back of her head, Twilight pulled at an unseen zipper, allowing her true face to emerge from the costume. "What a bunch of morons," Cozy Glow remarked. Thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Until next time, stay tuned.